Alright, welcome to the weekly gaming quick save show recorded live at 3 p.m. Pacific time every Friday, right here on twitch.tv/BenReacts. Still Ben, still reacting, fine bros. I'm gonna say that every week. Don't care. On this week's show, I'm gonna be reacting to the Division's open beta and why I'm glad it happened because now I don't have to buy the game. Pretty pleased about that. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing going on. Nothing real big. Sitting around doing nothing all day. Nothing. First, let's talk about biggest stories of the week. Starting off with Tomb Raider. Boom. Rise of Tomb Raider. Square Enix has said that they've sold 3 times as many copies in the first month of sales on PC than as the first month of sales on Xbox One. And that's very interesting to me because I don't think it's just as simple as, oh, Fallout 4 clearly killed it off. These numbers don't quite add up. 3 times as many? That's a little funny, and because if you look at NPD, and if a game is on PS4, Xbox One, PC is usually third. Now, it's not a distant third, but it's usually third. There are exceptions, whatever. Like The Witcher might be an exception for that. But generally, it's PS4, Xbox One, PC. Xbox One, PS4, PC. So, it's weird that it sold 3 times as much copies. Now, I know it was eaten up by Fallout 4, but could this have also been because it's Tomb Raider, maybe the Xbox ownership isn't that excited, maybe people in general aren't that excited, and then they started seeing reviews and awards, and then, oh shit, this is really good, let's buy the game, oh, it's coming out on PC, I have a game on PC, I'll wait. Maybe that has something to do with it. We'll definitely have more information on actual information instead of just me saying random shit. In probably around November when it launches on PS4, we'll definitely know what the hell's going on. Because for it to sell 3 times more on PC doesn't quite add up. But speaking of PS4, we got a new Uncharted 4 trailer. Now, I didn't watch it, because I don't really care. But there's something, let's take a look here. What is this? Is that concept art from Assassin's Creed Black Flag? Is that? Oh no. Somebody's getting fired. But seriously, it's pretty funny that this happened, and here you can see, oh no, oh god, what have you done? Now, very quickly, Naughty Dog took it down, replaced it with a similar beachy thing, and to me there's 4 possible ways this happened. Okay, now there might be more, but this is the 4 largest funnels you can group in ideas into. 1, they straight up stole it and don't give a shit. That clearly is not the answer. 2, it was placeholder art. Placeholder art is everywhere in video games, so it's not that surprising that a picture in the background, whatever, it gets missed. That's very likely. 3, it was just an honest mistake. You didn't really know. You thought this was approved art. You put it in there. You didn't even know it was from Assassin's Creed. That could be possible too. There is evidence that, they got rid of the guy standing on the beach, so that's probably not it. They might not have known it was Assassin's Creed though, but they knew they were editing some kind of art. 4, and this is what you'll see in comment sections of people going, well, it's just an Easter egg. Well, is it an Easter egg? No, that's not usually how Easter eggs are done. For example, there's a little Bloodborne symbol in Firewatch. There isn't a giant poster of Bloodborne concept art on the side of your watchtower. That's a big difference. Usually these Easter eggs are going to be from the same studio's IP, or maybe even Sony wheelhouse. So back to Bloodborne, there could be a picture of a Bloodborne cathedral in Uncharted 4, but it's going to be something you would have to approve. And therein lies how this was never an Easter egg, and this was a mistake. They didn't approve it. Ubisoft would have been aware of it and been like, yeah, thanks for the nod. Instead it was like, oh, thanks, now we know where thief comes from in the title of the game. That's the problem. So not an Easter egg. It could have been a cool Easter egg, actually, if they actually done that. Didn't actually do it. And some people are giving Ubisoft shit, but this is... You can't let this go. If you took a bunch of pictures of trees, right, and you released it out, here's my book of trees. 6 years later, someone takes one of those pictures of the tree and puts it in their book about whatever, who cares? And they don't tell you, and they don't ask you, and they don't say anything. are you going to feel happy about that? Like, you just stole my picture of a stupid tree. So that's where that comes in. I think you have to protect your stuff. This is art. Clearly it was taken. It wasn't like, well, it kind of looks similar. No, it was. That was what it was. It was pretty clear. Pretty clear that's what it was. Now, in news that's more interesting to me, because believe it or not, I like Resident Evil more than I like Uncharted. Shock to the world. And so they're releasing 4, 5, and 6 on the next gen consoles, on PS4 and Xbox One. Obviously, these are going to be the PC ports, which, if you don't know, they did release another Resident Evil 4 with newer textures that aren't that amazing. But specifically 4 and 5 on PC are a big leap up from the consoles. So that's what they're going to be. And obviously, since it's not even coming to PC, they're already there. That's what that is. But I'm excited by this because I want people to play Resident Evil 6. Like, actually play this game. It is not that bad. Okay, so fair point. There are really low lows in Resident Evil 6, like really low, really bad. There's some really bad parts, but there are so many great parts. And as a big Resident Evil 4 fan, or Resident Evil fan, not 4 specifically, it was so great to see. They got 4 campaigns, 4, and these aren't campaigns where, oh, it's just a little different, or there are entire, I would say maybe 80% of the game, of all the campaigns, is not retreading any areas. So 20% you're retreading an area that another character was in. That's huge. These are 4 campaigns. This game is a long ass game, probably too long, which when I mention the low lows, that's what I'm talking about. Some of this could have been cut into an amazing, director's cut thing. Cut. We got Chris battling a giant snake that's invisible for no reason. Half of Leon's campaign is some of the best Resident Evil 4 stuff we've gotten since Resident Evil 4. I really would like, shut up, Ethan. I really would like people to actually play this game, but whatever. That's just me, super Resident Evil nerd. It's only $20, coming out March 29th, and then 5 in the summer and 4 in the winter. I think they said we're gonna release them all on disc, whatever, end of the year. It's weird they're doing them out of order. This is the 20th anniversary of Resident Evil. Which brings me to the next topic. It's also the 20th anniversary of Pokemon, and this morning Nintendo announced Pokemon S&M, which I think is a bold new venture into what was always kind of a dark series. So now we have Pikachu dressed all in leather, and he's using one of those those little whip flagellum things, I think they're called, and they got the little tendrils on him, and he's just whipping all these Pokemon, and it's consensual, sure, but it's violent and a visceral experience. You got Slowpoke, and he's tied up, his arms tied up, tied to his legs, ball gag in his mouth. It's crazy. But this isn't. That's not what it is. Is there a gimp suit in the game? No. Is there? What about? That's not what it is. Spanking? No. Not what it is? Alright, well. So instead we just get another normal Pokemon game, and it's Pokemon Sun, Pokemon Moon. That's exciting, I guess. 3DS, end of the year. 9 languages. They don't even show footage for it. They barely even show. They show concept art and like these 3D models that aren't finished. It's very strange. I don't know. It's weird, but here's some art I found. Right here, if you go look, this is if you Google. So I had the genius idea, genius, air quote, for Pokemon, for Pikachu being a dominatrix, Pikamatrix. I didn't make this. Someone else did, and I totally approve. Great minds think alike. And also, if you're curious, the Googling Pokemon S&M is not as crazy as you think. It's actually pretty tame. There's another one. Good on you, Pikachu. Good on you. Look at that. That's some weird shit. See what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about? A missed opportunity here. Big missed opportunity. What the hell's wrong with you? Oh, we got here? I'm not sure why this showed up in S&M, but I'm glad it showed up. because Eevee got back, man. I know what I'm going to be doing later. That is going to be commissioning art from this artist because they're artist art. With that, I'm going to go into the topics, or one topic of the week. And also deal with idiot person I have to report in the comments. Let's see, how do I report people? I'll find that out after the show, but I gotta click on this button. You're banned. Bye. Be nice or don't show up. You don't think I know that there's no one watching? Come on, I'm aware. Come on. We're going to preview real quick, well, maybe not real quick, The Division. Let me plop this out. So, The Division is an interesting game from my perspective because I was always vaguely interested in it because it's a big game, whatever, it's got RPG elements as a shooter. It looks very interesting, right? That's when it was announced 16 years ago. Then we get to 16 years to now, and I haven't really been paying attention. Maybe I should pay attention. So I started paying attention a little bit, and they're going to do open beta. Okay, now I'll pay attention. That was a circular discussion. To no one, yeah, that I shouldn't even mention that person, who is now banned. So there's a lot of problems with The Division, though, and this is why I wasn't paying attention to it, because they were never really talking about it in the way I wanted them to talk about it. They were talking about it, oh, it's a co-op and you can do all this stuff with your friends, and I'm sitting here going, I want to do this by myself. And when you design a game, I don't necessarily mind co-op or whatever, but when you design a game with multiplayer in mind, you design it differently, and that's obvious. And this is my first and only going into the Dark Zone. The key problem is, okay, so there's nothing to explore. You're wandering around, and there's nothing really to find, nothing really to do. You'll find buildings that are pretty generic looking. They remind me actually of Dead Rising. The stores you would go into Dead Rising. That's what they kind of look like to me. You'll find a couple of them that actually you can go into, and there's stuff to collect. Why am I collecting stuff? Points for something. I think they were to build out your base, wings to your base. So you can go there and find 3 things in a room, and then you leave. There's no one to shoot, except when you randomly find people to shoot. There's more pedestrians walking around, which is very strange to me. And then you'll get to these points where it's so clearly made with multiplayer in mind. Like, oh, here's a quest. Okay, I'll start this quest. The quest is to stand here and defeat 3 waves of enemies, or for hold out for a minute or 2. I'm like, that's not very interesting. And then that was the whole quest. That was it. Like, that was your quest. It was very basic and weird, and everything just feels weird. It doesn't feel like a single player game, even though I played a lot of it as a solo moron. It doesn't feel right. It does not feel like a single player game. There's nothing to see, nothing to explore. The combat, we'll get the good stuff. The combat is fun. I do like it. I do like the skills. It's kind of what I wanted to see from Borderlands, where Borderlands has the one skill your class gets. I feel that is very limited. This has 3 different tiers and different skills, and you can have 2 equipped at any time, which is good. I would prefer more, but it's probably balanced for 2. That's fine. At least there's more skills possible. Then you can alter the skills with perks, or there's also perks, and then you can alter things. The perks weren't in the beta, but you could see you could alter the skills. I mean, it was interesting. So here's the thing: it's all interesting ideas. Hey, Silence. It's all interesting ideas, but it felt so lifeless as I was playing it by myself. Playing with another person would be a lot of fun, and going into the Dark Zone was fun. I will say that, but I'll get back to the Dark Zone, because another thing, they had the reveal trailer, and they had that moment where the guy shuts the door, and for some reason, and that's a cool moment, don't get me wrong, but for some reason everyone looked at that and said, everyone at Ubisoft looked at that and said, oh, now all the doors on the streets of New York have to be open, and you'll be walking around the street. Now, it's not, you can't really see it in the Dark Zone, but you'll be walking around the street, and every single car will have like 6 doors open. Like, what the fuck happened here in this apocalypse where everyone left their car with all their doors slightly ajar, just so someone years later can walk by and shut them? You know, it doesn't make any sense, and it's stupid, and you don't even shut them as cool as you do in that video they showed. Also, in that video they showed 16 years ago, the game looked a lot better. Now, obviously, that's how you make a vertical slice, whatever. I played this game on PC, and I don't know if the settings weren't working correctly, but maxed out on PC, it's not that great. It actually looks better in footage when you're not playing and it looks better at night too. It just doesn't look right. You know what it looks like? It looks like a fucking MMO, and I don't want an MMO. I don't want that. As cool as it is to run around all these things and not know who's on your side and all that, that's really interesting. That is fun. I did enjoy that, and I could see the hook there of it being a lot of fun. I don't understand, though, if you're going to section off entire sections of the city and make them multiplayer only, essentially. And so now, this big area of Manhattan is off limits to me if I don't want to play with other people, because it is kind of horrifying when there's just rogue people running around. And when you first get in there, you're super underpowered, and I didn't notice anyone cheating, which is good, but the Dark Zone is really cool. That's the thing. There's multiple points you can go out, and you're calling in helicopters and you have to wait, and there's AI in addition to people that can go rogue. It's fun. It's really a super cool idea of having kind of just a perpetual multiplayer match with objectives you're controlling, you know, like defend this area. Well, I choose when to call the helicopter, and you know, I get to choose the objective. That's really cool and interesting. But I'm not into that, and the single player is where, like, this is not a Fallout, even though I don't think Fallout's that amazing in terms of that, but this is not a single player RPG. This is not a Witcher. This is not anything even close to that. This is, you would be playing an MMO offline, which can be fine, but it felt too much like it. Every single mission, I played all the story missions you could. There were 3, maybe? At least 2. And they were fine, and at least they took you to interesting areas, like one's in a stadium. But there were, and this is a weird thing to say, there were too few enemies the entire time to shoot. There's like no one. This is supposed to be a war zone. It's really just the Dark Zone that's the war zone. And even that doesn't, you can walk around for minutes with no one showing up. You'd be in these missions, and you'd get to an area, like, okay, this is the encounter for this area. And like 10 guys would show up. And it felt so ineffective and uninteresting, because you just take them out pretty quickly, and then you move on. And the shooting is close to Gears of War, but is not Gears of War. Gears of War is my benchmark of third-person shooters I like. It's not there. It's not there at all. It's close. It kind of feels janky to me. I mean, the inventory, I'm jumping around all over the place, but sure. The loot drops are frequent enough. That's appropriate. That's good. When you get new stuff, it's kind of confusing as to what it does. There's three tiers, right? So there's like health, DPS, and technical, which was your skills. But all the items also boost your defense. But the screen for equipping all the items doesn't show your current defense and if this item would make it go up or down. So you technically would have to go into your stats and find out if it would actually be beneficial for you, which is kind of the opposite of the way I'd like this. And it felt so... There's a lot of really cool ideas in this, and I do understand that some people will love it. Just love it to death, but it's not for me, and it's why I'm glad they did an open beta, so I could play it and be like, yeah, I didn't actually want this. Because while it is fun to play, and there are good moments in it, it's way too, like, look, this guy just starts killing me, and yeah. Oh, he had the turret too, that's why he killed me so fast. Because I don't know how to play video games. Traders, see, I don't like that, too scary. But, I don't know, the whole time I was playing it, I played it for about 6 hours, the whole time I was playing it, I didn't feel good about it. It just, watch a loading screen for a second. It was missing, it felt very empty. That's exactly what it is. It felt like an empty MMO when you're playing a single player. That's how it felt. There were a couple there's a couple random missions. They're not really like story missions. They're just things you can do, and you'll find them on the map, and you go and you do them. And this is ironic because the game likes to have this thing constantly. If you look at it, you can see it at the middle with the yellow little arrow, constantly telling you where you need to go to an obnoxious degree. It is constantly saying, hey, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. I was playing this mission, and then it didn't tell me, and then I had no idea where to go. I had to go up this ladder, which was completely out of the way from where I thought I would have to go. And I spent like 5-10 minutes trying to figure out where this stupid ladder was. And it just didn't feel right. There was no indication I should go there. There was, even that, there's no indication when you're wandering around the street where anything interesting would be. It's completely just, it's just window dressing. None of it has any consequence. You're running and doing nothing for a lot of it. When you actually do get into firefights, it is fun. It is a lot of fun. But it just felt so empty. So very empty. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I get the hooks of the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone was maybe my favorite part, but not something I would want to do. It just doesn't feel right to me. And that's it. It's just not right. So here you go. You see the health, skill, power, DPS. I was right. Electronics, not technology. Electronics. I also didn't help. I wasn't playing with a mic on PC, so everyone has like a push to talk because they're cool people, and I'm like, I don't talk. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to make this. This is like the shortest show of all time, but it's just not. I think I had as much fun kicking all these cones. It's not that exciting. I don't really get it. Look at this. Look how far I have to run for anything. I'm like, what is even happening here? There's this big old area. There's no one here. There's no one here. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. That's loot. Clearly marked like any good RPG should. But that's a bad guy. I was scared of him, so I kind of ran over here. And he didn't see me, so I ran away. But it's not a single player. That's what I'd say. If you're going to go into this and play single player, I hope you played the beta and enjoyed it, because otherwise you might be very disappointed and very confused as to what it is, because it is not set up very well for a single player, or at least in the beta. But I mean, this is your test, and after 6 hours, you can pretty well tell, like, that's another door that's open for no fucking reason. At least that door has a reason to be open. Ridiculous. And that's it. No one's watching the show, as my vaguely homophobic commenter said. No one's watching the show, but I do the show anyway. I know no one watches it. I don't care. Merry Christmas. I do the show every Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, right here on Twitch. Usually it's longer. This is the shortest show. I'm gonna ramble. let's talk about Pokemon. I think about you, Pikachu. I died again. The Dark Zone, difficult. Much more difficult than the main game. The main game's pretty even keel. It's not, I think I died a couple times, maybe. There was one encounter. That's the other thing, too. Every enemy is just a dude. It's just the dude with a gun. Not that exciting. They, some of them, well, if they aren't guys with guns, they're guys with shields that just run at you with axes, and they do this really stupid thing where they just hit you with an axe, and then they just kind of back up, and they wait a couple seconds, and then they try to hit you again, and they're not fun to fight, and they don't make any sense. And yeah, in that way, it definitely feels like it's balanced totally for multiplayer, as evidenced by the big arenas. You're always in a big arena, even when it's a subway. It's not that small of an alleyway. It's a kind of a, there's more going on. There's little doors and stuff. And the boss enemy guy, what was it? Oh, that's the cool thing. People have, for some reason, they have like oxygen tanks, and you can shoot them and they blow up. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like people blowing up. I can get down with that. The boss guy had like 3 tanks on him because I guess that's what you do. I don't know why you would need that many. I don't know. So you could breathe longer because you're the boss. So that was fun. You got to shoot him a couple times, blow him up several times. That was good. But I think it's time to put this down. I liked my intro to this show. Shortest show ever. Maybe I'll hang out for a minute. I'm going to ban the guy. That's what I'm going to do. Show's up.